Thank you everyone for joining us. We have an exciting presentation for you today, and it's going to be focused on building your practice through digital marketing. So we have a lot of great tips and tricks. Just to start off, I'll give you my contact information. I'm easy to find on Instagram at Dr. Madrigal. Just send me a message and I'm pretty quick to reply within a few minutes or within the hour, or through Facebook. And again, so just we're going to go ahead and get started. This webinar is sponsored by DenMat, and the reason why I have started working with DenMat was because a few years ago I was really into minimally invasive dentistry, and I started looking into restorative aesthetic cases that could be completed without reducing so much tooth structure. And that's when I came along and saw Lumineers. So Lumineers, as many of you know, are the #1 patient requested veneers in the world. They're ultra thin, and they're really what put veneers on the market and really educated the general population of what veneers are and how minimally invasive they can be. So I started doing a few cases with Lumineers a few years back with DenMat, and little by little I got introduced into more of their products. And honestly, they just have a great lineup for clinical and lab materials that we use in our office on a day-to-day basis. So take a look at what they have, and I'm sure that you're going to be very happy with that. But this webinar, again, is going to be focused on how to build your practice through digital marketing. Okay, so we're going to break it up. We'll break it down into 4 steps. The first one is going to be get patients in the door. Then where we want to make sure that we get those patients to accept treatments, and we want to deliver predictable results. And then at the end, we want to make sure that those patients keep coming in, okay? Because we want to make sure that the front door is open, but the back door is closed. That means that the first step is getting the patients in the door, and the 4th step is actually keeping the patients in our office, keeping the patients in our practice. So this is a picture here of a new practice that we built here in California. It's in the Central Valley, really out in the middle of nowhere. It's about an hour and a half east of San Francisco, an hour and a half south of Sacramento. So really there's not really much going around here, but there are a lot of cool places within an hour and a half to go. So the reason why I say this is because my practice is not based in a community that's pretty well off. The median income here in this area is around 50 to 60 grand a year per household. So it's really a practice that's established with mainly bread and butter dentistry, which is crowns, crowns, fillings, root canals, perio, all that stuff. But we also do a lot of specialty cases like implants and definitely aesthetic cases like Lumineers. So since this was a scratch practice, we wanted to make sure that we did everything we could to fill our schedules fast, to get our patients in the door, to let people know that we're out there, and to actually establish our practice as fast as we could. So the first step is going to be get patients in the door. How did we do that? Well, we said, what do we need to do? We need to advertise. How do we need to advertise? Well, there's many different ways to advertise now, but the first thing that came to mind was something like this: billboards, right? And this is really the main way that someone thinks when they're thinking about advertising, is through billboards, right? This is very common in big cities like New York, LA, but here in our town, really we just see these pretty much along the freeways, the highways, and it's something just didn't seem right about using this method. I'm sure it works in a lot of places, but it just didn't seem like this spoke to me. The other thing that I thought about was television, and we have all seen these infomercials, right, where there's a product that's being sold on TV. It always has the 3 easy payments of blah 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 blah, and then it says, but wait, there's more, and wait, there's more, right? But honestly, who watches TV anymore, right? It's very few. There are very few people that actually watch TV. It is a market out there, but the advertisement on TV is just ridiculously expensive, and the return on investment is simply not there anymore. We're starting now to live in a digital era where everyone has a phone, everyone's always on their phone. And it's just, that's seemed to me like that's the way we need to market. We need to market to what people are looking at all the time, every day. So looking at some data, we saw that the average time spent on the phone is around 3 hours. So this is ages 18 plus, but really it doesn't mean that just everyone's going to be spending 3 hours. Some people are going to be spending a little bit less, but honestly, the majority of the people that I know are spending more than 3 hours a day on their phones. So this means that this is just a perfect channel for us to actually start to advertise, right? Because we know that the majority of the time, those people or us, we're actually on our phones on social media. We're interacting with our friends, we're interacting with our family, and we're doing this through Instagram, through Snapchat, through Facebook, through all these different sources that we have on our phones. So looking at this, I said, okay, well, let me look at my Instagram. Let me see what I'm doing. And I was building an Instagram page mainly just for dentists where I like posting my cases. And these cases were helping me learn a little bit more. Each time I posted something, I would have doctors ask me something or give me tips and tricks. And a lot of my mentors are actually on Instagram, and they advise me, and it's just a great community to learn from other colleagues, learn from different cases. But not just that, but also post your own cases out there and let other doctors see it. But at the same time, when I saw this, I said, well, you know what, this is something that patients can also be seeing. So I said, if patients are always on their phones, if the general population is always on their phones, we need to make sure that we have a social media presence. We need to make sure that our name is out there on Instagram, on Facebook, on Google. So the main reason why I have the Instagram account is really not just to to share my cases, but to also make sure that patients, when they search for me, they see that I have cases, they see that I have posts, they see that I have comments, they see that I'm interacting with our community, and that just builds a little bit more trust with your patients before them actually stepping into your office. Besides Instagram, you have to have a Google account or a Google business account. Your business has to be found on Google. You have to have Google reviews because that's what patients are going to be looking for. If your business isn't on Google, it's really pretty much non-existent nowadays. So you need to make sure that it's on Google, but having your Facebook, having your business page on Google doesn't just mean that you just post something there and just abandon it, right? We need to make sure that we're working on something else called Google reviews. So in our office, we always, if a patient comes to us and tells us that they're very happy with their office, or if they just give us a compliment, well, we use that as an opportunity and we ask them to actually leave us a Google review. And most of them are actually very kind enough to go ahead and leave us a review because it actually helps bring more patients like them to our office. And that's what we want to do. So we already have a social media presence in Instagram. We have a social media a presence through Google, but we said, okay, we need to be doing something else. This is a practice that if we don't get new patients, I mean, pretty soon it's just gonna end, right? Especially now after COVID, getting new patients in the door is extremely important. So we needed to do something else. Up to this point, we weren't doing any advertisement. So we said, okay, we need to do advertising. So in one of the meetings with one of my DenMat reps, they talked to me about the SDP, which is the Smile Discovery Program. So the Smile Discovery Program is actually a digital marketing tool that is going to help your business get promoted through ads. And these ads are very powerful. So this is actually a sample of one of the ads that we wrote. We actually wrote it in Spanish, although we built through the Smile Discovery Program. And the point of this is to get patients in the door. So number one step is getting patients in the door, right? So we ran a few other ads through the Smile Discovery program to make sure that we got those patients into our office, and then from there we would take on the second step. But we wanted to make sure that we were tracking all this too. So how many patients did we actually start to get once we started advertising with the Smile Discovery program? Well, I had Crystal, who's my office manager, chart down every single patient, where they're coming from, where they were referred from, how they heard from us, and what they wanted to get treated. And this is actually some data that we have in our office, and we do it month to month. So we're going to be using real world examples. I'm actually going to show you the actual numbers of half of a month that we had in our office. These are real patients. This is just everything here is going to be coming exactly how it is from our Excel sheet that we have in our office. So I know it's a lot of names right here. We get approximately from 60 to 80 new patients a month. Some of them are coming from Google, some of them are coming from relatives, friends, but the bulk of our patients were actually coming from that advertisement that we had from the Smile Discovery program, from those ads. And the great thing about this is that month after month, the more that the patients were seeing the ads, the more volume of patients that we started to get in. So let's say that the first month we would get 5, 10 patients. Well, then the next month we would get 25 patients. Then the next month we would get 35 patients. So it's just something that builds upon itself, because through repetition, as patients start seeing your name on those Facebook ads, on those social media platforms, then they start to build a little bit more trust in your office. They start to build a little bit more trust in your practice, and they're more likely to come and get treatment done, or at least get a consultation done. So if we highlight the Smile Discovery program leads that we had in that first half month of October, we actually had $95,000 in leads. So that means that patients would come in, we would do their exam, and then based on their exam, we would tell them, okay, well, your treatment plan is going to be $400 or $470 or $20,000 or $8,000 or $1,200, whatever it is. We would go ahead and let the patients know this is how much your treatment is going to be. But you can see that we had opportunities up to $95,000. Now, that doesn't mean that that's what we collected, right? Really, those $95,000 mean nothing to us if we can't convert those leads into actual collections. So step one was making sure that we got our patients in the door, right? Step two, we want to make sure that we want to get our patients to accept treatments, right? So how do we get our patients to accept treatments? What's the main thing that drives patients, or that drives us as humans to act? And that is emotions. If we don't have emotions, if we don't have our patients emotionally invested in their own treatments, then it's going to be very difficult for them to actually accept it, because they're simply not going to care. But once you get a patient emotionally invested in their own treatment, it's very simple for them to accept it, because they know that that's what they want. They know that that's what they need. So in our office, we found that the best way to get our patients emotionally invested is through photography. So we love taking photos of our patients. We always take preoperative photos, and we actually show them what they can look like. So just a little side note, I know because I get a lot of questions after these webinars on how or what settings I use for those extra photos. This is just a picture of one of our patients, and the settings are pretty straightforward. So if you have a DSLR professional camera, you really just have to use these settings right here, which is f11, ISO 200, and the shutter speed 1/200. You have your camera up in front of the patient, and you have 2 side lights at 45 degrees. And that's simply it. So that just makes it very simple. Our assistants take all the photos for our patients. Every patient that walks in the door gets a photo taken. And not only that, we want to make sure that they get emotionally invested in the treatment, right? So if you see a patient, or if you have a patient and you show them a photo, it really does nothing to them unless you show them a before and after. right? But how can we show a patient a before and after when we haven't seen the patient, when we haven't treated the patient? It becomes a little bit more difficult. Luckily, there's something called digital smile design. Okay, so digital smile design is actually when we can use technology to show our patients what they can look like if they get treatment done. So with the Smile Discovery Program, this is called Lumi Smile. So what Lumi Smile is that you actually just submit a photo of your patient through the DenMat portal, and within 20 minutes, the DenMat lab will actually send you back a digital smile design like we see right here. So when we have this photo within 20 minutes, so we're doing we're already doing the exam for our patients. And when we're done with that exam, the lab has already sent us this digital smile design. So we look at it and we can actually show it now to the patient. And as we show it to the patient becomes emotionally invested. Now, the great thing about the Lumi Smile is that it can actually be taken with a cell phone. So I know I showed you the setup for the digital as the professional camera, but you don't have to have that camera. It's actually Lumi Smile and the Smile Discovery Program actually have an app now where you simply take a picture of your patient smiling, and then you submit it right then and there through the app, and the patient can actually receive that Lumi Smile in their hands within 20 minutes. So they'll have it either through their email or through their phone, whatever you choose, and they'll send it to you as well. So the patient will be able to take this digital design with them, because now when they get home, they can show it to their friends, they can show it to their husband or their wife, and they can talk about it, and that gets them even more emotionally invested in their treatment. So it's a great tool to start to get our patients to accept treatment. So this is another patient where we wanted to go ahead and do a Lumi Smile on them. And I like showing this picture because it shows more than just a set of veneers right here, right? We show the patient this photo and we tell her, because she was complaining about her gummy smile, we said, well, we can fix this and we can get an outcome that looks very similar to something like this in the Lumi Smile. But we said this has to be done in conjunction with other specialties, where we're going to be doing some crown lengthening, we're going to be doing some veneers, and we're going to be replacing those 2 crowns in the front. Well, she accepted treatment because she saw the outcome. Even though we told her, it's not something that's going to be done in a month. It's not going to be something that gets done in a couple of weeks. This is going to be a long process, because we need to make sure that we actually get that gingival smile corrected first, and then we can do our final restorations. The patient didn't care about any of that. She's actually in treatment right now. It's about 6 months into treatments that she's gone through right now, and she's going to get her smile back because she was already emotionally invested. She was only emotionally invested because she was able to see this photo. So this Lumi Smile, the Lumi Smile app, is a great tool. It's super powerful to get our patients more excited about their treatment. So this is what is actually going to turn our leads into collections. So we saw that we had with the Smile Discovery Program, we had $95,000 in leads, and that's just counting these ads, not counting any friends or relatives or any other sources of patient referrals. But we were able to actually convert all of these leads. So you see that not all of them converted, but a lot of them did, right? So those $95,000 in leads actually left us $56,000 in collections for that half of the month. This is just with the Smile Discovery Program. So it's just a great tool. When we start to see this start to build up little by little every month, we were starting to get bigger and bigger numbers, to where, again, by the first half of October, we had collected $56,000. That was just mind-blowing to us, because it was something that if we wouldn't have just invested the little bit of money that it took for this program, we would never see this money again. Not only that, but we would not see the referrals that are coming from these patients that are actually great patients now. And I'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later too. So we already talked about step one, which is getting patients in the door. we already talked about how we get patients to accept treatments, but now we need to make sure that we're delivering predictable results. So when we have a case like this, it can become a little scary to treat, right? So we want to make sure that we have predictable results. So what I did in this case is that we sent this case for a digital wax up to the DenMat lab, because they understand the shape, the anatomy, the occlusion, they understand all those factors, and we wanted to get something that was very predictable. So based on this, we showed the patient what they could look like first with the Lumi Smile app. So they got emotionally invested in their treatments. Once they got emotionally invested, they accepted treatment through the Lumi Smile app, and then we were able to deliver high quality, very aesthetic, full contour Lumizir or zirconia restorations in this case. So we're able to go from a patient that looks like this with the Lumi Smile to deliver predictable results and to have the final treatment look like this. So the reason why we're doing this protocol is because we have found that it works. Once we get the patients in the door, we get them to accept treatments, and we're able to deliver these results over and over again. It just creates a base in our office, and it creates more patient referrals because they're able to see all this. And you got to bet that this patient actually left us a really good Google review that came out of her heart. So it's something that we always have to work for. We have to strive for, having a protocol that's actually going to deliver results long term. Next, we want to see this case. And this is the same way. We got this patient where she was missing some restorations in the front teeth. We got her emotionally invested with the Lumi Smile app. And again, we deliver high quality, predictable results. These are also Lumizir crowns. I do know, I'm not sure what we'll have to ask later on, but I do know that there's actually a special on Lumizir crowns from DenMat. If you guys go on the website and look for that, or I'll shoot you a link later on to see if you can try these full zirconia crowns that just are so aesthetic, and it blows my mind to what we can accomplish with a patient once they become emotionally invested. We can really transform their lives. So we can change a smile completely with just 4 crowns, and we know that these are going to be long lasting. We know that these are not going to fail. We can be very comfortable in our treatment because we did the right steps based on the treatments and based on the materials that we are using. Finally, this is just a case that I wanted to show you where we actually had a combination case where we had some lumineers, we had some crowns, and we had some implant crowns as well. And right there, tooth number 8 is actually an implant. So that's actually an implant crown that was delivered. And you can see that the anatomy is just so great on this. It's so natural, which is what patients are looking for, right? We want to make sure that patients don't leave with crowns in their mouth. We want to make sure that the patients leave with a smile on their faces. So delivering predictable results can be a little bit difficult if you don't have the correct understanding of all these aesthetic considerations. So we have to have the gradation, we have to have color, surface texture, the respective zones have to be accurate, we have to have translucency, we have to have central dominance, we want to make sure that there's no cants. So all these different things are taken in consideration when you're using a great lab. So I'm going to show you a quick case that we used using the ART technique, which is that called additive reduction template technique from DenMat. So this is a case that I posted on Instagram as well, and it shows the before and after, because we want to make sure that our patients, if they're going onto our Instagram, if they're going onto our Facebook, that they actually see cases that we have done before, that they actually feel more comfortable knowing that they're going to see a patient or going to see an office that's going to care for them, how they treat for their patients in this case. So we removed those 2 crowns. You can see that the 2 teeth in the front were just really white, and the reason why the patient had crowns was because he had some pigmentation, and based on that pigmentation, the previous treating doctor decided to do crowns on him. Well, this patient came in asking for crowns, and we said, you know what, we don't have to reduce all your teeth. We can actually do some Lumineers, which are going to be minimally invasive. And he agreed after we did the Lumi Smile lab. We removed those crowns. We did this additive reduction templates. So these are pretty much just guided veneer preparation. That's what I like to call it. It's so easy because it's guided. It tells you exactly where to reduce. So you simply take your burr, reduce it right there. We had no numbing necessary in this case because it was all really on the enamel. And we're not guessing how much tooth structure we're reducing. We're not guessing anything here because we already know that the lab told us exactly how much space they need in order to provide us with high quality aesthetic results. So after we do this reduction, we are able to place some temporaries. And after we place those temporaries, we polish them, we take a scan, and we're able to go from something that looks like this to something that looks like this. So on the left side, I'm going to take a quick look on why I came to Lumineers, why I came to DenMat. And it's as simple as this picture right here on the left. We can see the traditional preps and how much tooth reduction was done. Those are actually centrals, and they're smaller than the tooth reduction that we did with our biomimetic preps on those laterals. So we can achieve very aesthetic results, and that does not mean that we have to reduce the entire tooth. We can actually do very minimal reduction, and with that minimal reduction, we can always achieve very long-lasting results. So another great thing about not reducing the tooth so much is that if everything is bonded on enamel, we're going to have a lot longer lasting restorations because the bond to enamel is going to be a lot stronger than bonding to dentin. So it's just something that we need to take into consideration whenever we're talking about dentistry and delivering predictable results. We want to make sure that we're using the techniques, we're using that technology that's available to us in order to offer our patients the best treatment. So once we are done with step 3, which is delivering great results to our patients, we need to make sure that those patients keep coming in, right? So in order to keep those patients coming in, we do that throughout all the service that we just did on these first 3 steps. But not only that, we want to ask for referrals. And we want to ask for referrals because we have these patients that we treated them well, that we restore their smile back, and we want to make sure that we're getting more of these high quality patients. So the best patients will always come from those referrals. So this is just a list again of that first half of the month of the new patients that we had. So from those new patients, we had all these friends and family or relatives that were actually referred, that these patients were actually referred by a friend or relative. So let's say that in August, we had 20 Smile Discovery patients, and we were able to restore smiles to 10 of them that accepted treatment. Well, if we ask those 10 patients to refer patients to us, it's going to be very likely that those patients will refer high quality friends and relatives that already know how you work in your office. They already know what to expect. And it actually is so much easier to have a patient accept treatment when they're referred by friends and family. So we can see that from all of these patients, only one patient did not accept treatment. And that treatment was actually $9,000. But just because they didn't accept treatment at that time does not mean that they will not accept treatment in the future. So it's just really, really strong, really important to make sure that you have a strong relationship with your patients. Once you get them in the door, which is what the Smile Discovery program does, once you get them in the door, we want to make sure that we follow all those other steps to have them accept treatment, to have them be happy with their treatments, and at the end to make sure that they refer their patients to us or the friends and families to us. So you can see from friends and family for that half of the month, we actually ended up collecting $42,000. So if we take a look at $42,000 that were collected from friends and family plus the 56 that was collected from the new patients from the Smile Discovery program, we can see that just in that first half of October, we actually collected $99,000. So almost $100,000 that were collected because we were able to follow these steps, because we have this protocol set up in place. And again, most of these patients wouldn't be coming to our office if we didn't have this this advertisement in place, if we didn't let the patients know that we were actually out there in the web, that we're actually there being able to solve their problems. So I know it's a lot of numbers right here, but it's so strong. It's, I think, a very strong message to what the Smile Discovery Program does, to what digital marketing does. And we are definitely past the days where we're going to be advertising in the yellow pages, where we're going to be advertising in anything that does not include social media. So if you're not advertising through social media, if you're not using the tools that you have at your disposal, if you're not using the technology, then the practice is going to suffer. And the worst part about this is that you would not notice how much money you're missing out until you actually start collecting this. So again, it's like a snowball. It just starts building upon itself. So the first months we weren't collecting that much from SDP. I think the first month that we run the SDP ads, we actually ran it for Lumineers, and that first month we actually got one case. So after we got that case, I mean, we did collect $14,000 from it, and that we figured that paid for the Smile Discovery Program in itself, plus a lot more. So we said, okay, well, we're gonna keep running with this. We're gonna go ahead and keep using it to see what it does. Well, month by month, it just kept adding more and more and more and more patients, because again, as more patients see your ads over and over again, maybe they don't want to see the dentist this month, but maybe next month they will. But once they see your ad, they're gonna start to think more and more about it. And then it's gonna come the day when they see your ad and they're actually gonna go ahead and click on it, and they'll give your office a call. So I want to show you some real numbers that we had for the Smile Discovery Program, just to show you what this means. Okay, so for the months for this quarter, for the months of September and October, we actually had 121,000 impressions. Okay, so what does that mean? 121,000 impressions means that 121,000 people actually, excuse me, 121,000 people actually saw your ad. That doesn't mean that they clicked on it. It just means that they saw it. So if they don't click on it, it still registers with them. So your name is still getting out there. Clicks, we had about 1,000 clicks or 1,100 clicks. Okay, so you would say that maybe there's about 1% of the people that see your ad actually click on it, right? And now out of those clicks, we see that about 1% of those actually call your office. So even though you're getting 121,000 impressions, you're really getting a small number of patients to call your office. But this is why it's so important to be using digital marketing or social marketing, because you can get your name out there to so many people, and you don't have to just look for a specific area that you want to advertise to. It actually advertises to so many people that you never know where you're going to be pulling patients from. So this is just to show you how one case can actually increase the revenue in your office for so much more. So I'm going to go ahead and show you an example of how easy it is to create these ads through actually the website. Okay, so we're actually online now, and the first thing you do, which is very simple, is just create your practice name. So we're going to put my practice name here. So we'll just put Trinity Dental, phone number. That's my cell phone number. So that's the cell phone number, the office number. Then we click next, and you're already 20% done. So the great thing about this is that you can actually pick what type of ad you want to run. So You can either pick lumineers, you can pick veneers, which is generic, clear aligners, whitening, implant services, general dentistry, which is just crown and bridge, digital smile design, which is what we spoke about. So the digital smile design is actually it's pretty efficient when you show your patients what their smile can look like on their phones. We can also use a snap-on smile, but just stick to whichever one you feel that you're more comfortable with. For my office, we tend to run a lot of lumineers and also implant services. So really just click on one of these. So let's go ahead and just do an ad. We'll do it for lumineers. Let's just say that we pick this ad right here. This is the image that we're gonna be selecting for our ad. And then we're gonna click on the landing page link. So when you click on the landing page link, you have to put HTTPS in front of it, or else it will not go through, okay? So once we do that, we can choose either to do this ad for all 3 months, or if you want to do one individually. So for the sake of time, we're just going to go ahead and say we're going to use this for all 3 months, and we're going to click next. After we click next, we're almost done. The only thing we need to do now is if you want to have any additional comments or instructions for DenMat. So let's say that you're running a promotion, maybe $100 off lumineers. So you can do something like that, or you can say like free consultation. So something like this for whatever it is that you want to run you can go ahead and put those comments here, and that's pretty much it. So for this one, we're just going to put demo because we don't want to actually run anything. So we'll just put demo on this, and we're going to submit it. So once you submit it, that's it. You have submitted it and you're done. That is actually how long it took for you to run a Smile Discovery Program Facebook advertising for a whole quarter. So really from this step, you just have to sit back and relax, look at your patients starting to come in. I would recommend charting where they're coming in from, so you can see that those patients are coming from the Smile Discovery program. And again, it's very simple to run this ad. And then once you're done with this ad, you can actually go back to your dashboard. In about a week, you'll be able to see your ad. So this is one of our ads that we ran a few months ago. It was for clear aligners. So after we ran this ad, we had patients coming in, and it's just something that will pop up on the feed of a lot of possible patients. And actually have seen our ad in multiple times in whenever I'm on Facebook. So it just goes to show you that it's something that's working for you. You're going to be able to see how many impressions you're getting. You're going to be able to see how many patients you're actually getting in the door. So with that, I just want to thank everyone for joining me. Again, I'll give you my contact information. Best way to reach me is probably through a message on Instagram, or you can also email me any questions. Usually pretty quick at responding. Again, anything you guys want to ask, I'm always more than happy to answer, more than happy to learn from you guys as well. Let me know what you're doing in your office to get more patients in.